everyone, welcome to another episode of Lever Guns 5110. Today we're looking at these Slix-shot Nipples. Going to see how well they work on this 1847 Colt Walker, and going to see if they give it any more reliability, any more velocity, or what do they do. And make sure you stay to the end, tuned to the end, because there's going to be, I'm going to talk about it and wrap up the video. All right, we have it loaded up with those new nipples on it, and we're going to try it out and see if it shoots any faster with a little bit better nipples. All right, cross the chronograph. (1,316 feet a second). Make sure you can see this. (1,316 feet a second). I think them nipples, the way they're designed, they allow the fire to go through a little bit better and start the powder burning better. Let's try another one. (1,333 feet a second). It's kind of a little bit of more variation than I'd want. Okay, 1,333. Let's try another one. So far, we're not having a lot of problems with it firing. Caught on half cock for some reason. Let's try it again. Let's see what. Probably got a piece of a cap hung up in there. Okay, try it again. $1,259. I think that might have been an error. $1,268. $1,246. The last three was more consistent. Let's try this last one. $1,255. Yeah, that's a lot more consistent than the first one. Must just been the clean bore. All right, we're going to try the Colt Walker with these 220 grain bullets across the chronograph and see what kind of velocities we get. See if they go any faster with these new nipples on them. (1,217 feet a second). .220 grain bullet, 1,217 on the first shot. Our first dud, which I think I had a piece of that cap under the hammer. Let's try it again. (1,134 feet a second). Look like the bullets hit pretty close together though. Let's try that again. 1116 feet a second. Got some cap stuck in here. All right, 1116 feet a second. That first might have been a fluke. $1,118 feet a second. Well, these are really not, doesn't appear to be going any faster than with the other nipples on there, the factory nipples. $1,123. With full house 50 grain equivalent of black powder. This is 777. Well, 1,129 feet a second. I'm gonna say that first one was a fluke, because the rest of them, all the powder charges are exactly the same. So unless the clean barrel made it shoot faster, which I doubt it did. So it looks like it didn't really speed it up. The round balls, it seemed like it sped it up some. So let's see what the overall velocity and energy was. It's looking like that it was shooting pretty good. That was at 10 yards and I wasn't aiming real good. I was just trying to aim down here. And you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shots. You can easily cover it with your hand. So there you have it. So with the round balls, it seemed like it gained velocity. With these, pretty much stayed about the same. So that larger opening, here's a piece of our lid right here, little wafer. The larger opening in that nipple, allowing more powder to go down it, seemed like it makes it, at least the round ball, shoots somewhat faster than the factory standard nipples. All right, in conclusion, this Colt Walker, designed by Samuel Colt and Captain Samuel Walker, has turned out to be a pretty interesting gun throughout the years. A lot of people have sought after this gun because of its high powder capability and it being a real powerful gun. As you have seen in my videos, loaded up, it could be very powerful. Now, as you know, back in the day, a lot of people would take their black powder and grind it finer, and that may have been very well why some of the cylinders burst, because you probably read where McKeith ground up some pretty fine and stuck it in the cartridge gun. It blew the cartridge in the cylinder off the gun. I think it blew three chambers open, if I'm not mistaken. So back in the day, that was a practice. People did grind their powder finer. There was all different, you know, everybody and his brother was making gunpowder back then. They later developed a brown powder, which was made out of not quite burnt wood. It was much more powerful and burnt cleaner than the traditional black powder. So we know there was a big, huge variety of powders. There were people grinding their powder too fine, or using too fine a powder in their Colt Walker, which would cause an explosion rather than a burn. Normally, when your hammer strikes the percussion cap, the powder ignites and burns and propels that bullet out. Well, when you have 60 grains or more, if you use too fine of a powder, what will happen is that that percussion cap will shoot that flame into there, and then that powder will start to burn, but it'll start burning too rapidly and it'll just explode. When it explodes, it builds up way more pressure than even modern firearms are capable of handling. Well over 100,000 psi. So yeah, they could easily burst the cylinder in those cases. Never ever try any of that stuff because it's dangerous. I used 777 because 777 to me seems to put less pressure and more velocity when you load it right. Now it's a black powder equivalent, so don't put the same volume, put a little bit less volume, and obviously the grains, don't measure it by grains, do it by volume. I also like just true black powder. Black powder is a really neat powder, but right now it's pretty hard to find a lot of times. But some of your Swiss powder and other powder seems to burn pretty fast, and well, seems to propel the bullets pretty fast. If it burns too fast, it won't propel fast. You got to have like a slower burn. The thing with modern powder, if you lay it out here on the cabinet and light it, it burns really slow. It burns just like, you know, some debris burning. Black powder, it just goes, whoop, just goes up in smoke in a hurry. And that's its main problem, is it just burns kind of too fast and it doesn't build up as much pressure as smokeless powder in order to get bullets moving faster. But the good thing is, with a lot of your substitutes, you can get more velocity with the same or less pressure. Now originally, like I said, there was all different kinds of powders. They was loading these pretty hot, and it did have cylinder bursts, and some of it was probably due to poor steel, because later Colt got some better steel and could make the gun smaller and use hotter powder. The 1860 is the prime example. In 1860, a lot of the people were saying that the powder was so hot the gun recoiled too hard. Now, as all of you know, if you've shot black powder guns with modern black powder, they don't recoil very much at all. So obviously they was doing something different than what we've been doing, and that's why Colt needed that more modern spring steel. It was to get that cylinder to not burst with them higher pressures that they was going with the more modern powder. Now, if you search it out, Colt, he got what he called pistol grade powder, and it was a mixture of really fine powder, probably about as fine as 4F, with some coarser powders, what it looks like to me if you look at the chart where it shows the granulations. But it was interesting studying up on that stuff, because you know, they said back then that the penetration of the 1860 and 1851, which we don't get with our modern smokeless powder. We can't get that kind of penetration or that power. I mean, one guy with a 36 caliber shot and killed a dude at 70 yards, shot him in the head and killed him. Most of the loads I've shot with the smaller calibers at 70 yards would probably just bounce off of anybody's head, much less kill them. So this right here, really interesting gun. I really like it. I would say that the replica quality wasn't as good, but as far as the interest and the cool factor was really good. So anyhow, I hope you like this video. If you do, please share this video. It's not easy to get this information out there. You know how YouTube kind of just hides all gun channels information. So if you will, share it with somebody that might be interested. In the meantime, you have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much.